And you will hear Major Andrew Dickinson give the words of command. And as the coach leaves the central arch of Buckingham Palace, the Royal Marine Band Plymouth will play the national anthem. Just a light drizzle in the air, nothing more than that. It's a very cool day. And the King's procession from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Abbey will shortly begin. The Diamond Jubilee State Coach taking His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen Consort. Their Majesties King Charles III and the Queen Consort start their journey towards Westminster Abbey. For 70 years he has been the heir to the throne, but now His Majesty makes his way to be the 40th monarch crowned in Westminster Abbey, the 62nd monarch overall. And this is a journey he has made so many times in his life, but this time is exceptional and historic. And they pass the magnificent white marble tribute to Queen Victoria, who was the first monarch to take this route to her coronation in 1838. And her statue there looks directly down the Mall, and she'll keep an eye on her great-great-great-grandson as he travels with his queen to fulfill his destiny. And the Diamond Jubilee State Coach there in all its glory. And the Windsor Greys, 6 Windsor Greys pulling the carriage, decorated with royal blue, and their main dressings are customarily crimson, but they've been changed on this occasion. And royal blue, the colour selected. And the King has chosen the Diamond Jubilee State Coach with good reason. On the way back, when we see the Coronation procession, they will use the glorious Gold State Coach, which is even more regal and sparkling, but it has no suspension, which means it's not entirely conducive to arriving in tip-top form for a long service. Queen Victoria actually refused to travel in it because of its disturbing oscillation. And William IV said it was like being aboard a ship in rough seas. Even Queen Elizabeth II said it wasn't very comfortable. So instead, this coach which is very different. It's a much smoother ride. It has 6 hydraulic stabilizers. It has electric windows. It has air conditioning. Not sure that will be needed today. It was built in Australia, and it is the newest coach in the Royal Mews. And around 400 books of gold leaf were used to decorate it. And the King in their ceremonial robes and looking relaxed and happy, acknowledging the crowd who've been gathered here, some of them from 2 days ago, but many coming in the early hours of this morning to get a prime position. Gilded crown on top of the coach was carved from oak from HMS Victory. And if you see inside, you see the handrails there. They're made from timber from the Royal Yacht Britannia. And preceding the Diamond Jubilee State Coach, we have the mounted band of the Household Cavalry. And as they make their way down the Mall, they pass a rather lovely statue of Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mother, who was so much a part of King Charles's childhood. In fact, the last time he attended a coronation, he sat with the Queen Mother, and she tried to keep him in check. But throughout his life, she was there with him. He actually very much said in a tribute at her funeral, she seemed gloriously unstoppable, and since I was a child, I adored her. You see the Sovereign's escort there. The Blues and Royals in front, the lifeguards with their white plumes behind the coach. You can hear the cheers of the crowd and genuine enthusiasm and excitement. Apollo and Atlas proving a little difficult, I think, Apollo is, just to keep on the straight and narrow. See the skill of the drummers. These enormous horses. And the Windsor Greys, originally named because they were kept in the Mews at Windsor for private use by Queen Victoria and her family to draw carriages around the Great Park. And we have Icon and Shadow, Milford Haven and Newark, Echo and Knightsbridge are the 6 who are drawing this coach. You'll see 8 of them on the way back with the Gold State Coach. You hear there the music from the Household Cavalry mounted bands, and with over 60 musicians, it is now the largest regular military band in the UK, led on procession today by Major Paul Collis Smith. sight that is, with the Queen Victoria Memorial behind, Buckingham Palace and the Royal Standard flying, and the various flags, Union flags and all those flags from the Commonwealth nations and realms along the Mall. And when crowds came to the Queen's coronation, they watched through periscopes. Now they film it on their phone. In the days before television and long before social media, this procession was a key opportunity for the public to see their king or queen, and following that tradition, this route today, 1.4 miles from Buckingham Palace along the Mall, and then we will see the procession pass through Admiralty Arch into Trafalgar Square, along Whitehall, finally into Parliament Square and Westminster Abbey. And at every point, the streetliners from the three armed forces stand at 5-pace intervals. And they will get a short break while the 2-hour service in Westminster Abbey is underway, but they will be back out there for the return procession, the coronation procession, which will be even more impressive than this. Procession will feature the Gold State coach, which was built for George III but actually wasn't ready for his coronation, so instead he and Queen Charlotte were carried from St James's Palace, which was the royal residence then, in his and hers sedan chairs. I think this is a rather more comfortable way to arrive. On foot there on the right of the picture, you see Garrison Sergeant Major Andrew Stokes. Now, he is a key part of the planning of all of the processional work. Known as Vern, and we will hear his commands later for the return procession, which will form up during the service and stretch for a mile long, and he will give the command from Parliament Square. That will be passed all the way down to the front, and the procession will march off together